Butterlake Farms, April 30th, 2026. I transplanted some tomatoes, which I'll show you. I have a giant tomato plant from my friend that's been going gangbusters. You can see him in the background. He's tall as me. Mr. Tomato. The eggplants at the other bed are still getting chowed on by some creatures, but they're pretty robust looking plants and they're starting to turn purple. Look at the purple flowers. I wonder if those are going to be eggplants. And like we said, these leaves are getting chowed on by something. Here's some tomato trimmings. My big ass tomato plant that I showed you. I took a couple of, I don't know, extraneous, superfluous stems and just stuck them in the ground to see what would happen. And it looks like something's happening. Here are the 5 tomato transplants to get started in the tomato bed. Yeah. Now I took all my cinder blocks that I had laying around and I had a little 5-foot piece of hardware cloth. You see that's hardware cloth. So I buried it, put some cardboard on it, and filled it with the free compost. My next step would be to fill that with cocoa coir, perlite, and vermiculite, as well as different dressings like maybe worm poop, cow poop, fertilizer, and the like. I want this to be my peppers bed because you can't have enough peppers. And my buddy just talked about buying a trio of peppers: habanero, serrano, jalapeno. I think I'm gonna go with that trio in my peppers bed. Let's look at this. These are the tomato seedlings. Tomato seedlings. I know that the plants will wick water up from their container, but I'm not sure what the right balance is for that. So I water them each day. And if the water looks too yucky on the bottom, I empty it because I'm sure that can't be healthy. I'm sure bacteria starts in there. Also, I understand you're supposed to take special care. These are the type of tomato plants that do best on one stalk, according to James Prigioni. So you got to look for these guys. See between the big stalk and the little leaves, you got to get rid of those guys. So I'm getting ready for a week vacation. I leave Wednesday, so I wanted to get my tomato seedlings actually in the ground. Turns out I grew like, I don't know, 40, 60 seedlings that actually were viable, but I only have room for, I don't know, a dozen, maybe 18 at the most. So, like most things with me, my eyes are bigger than my stomach. Or no, actually, that's not me. My stomach's usually bigger than my eyes. But it's lovely. We got some soil today, bagged soil. I decided not to make my own. It looks fine. And I am starting a pepper bed in the back, which I'll show you. Also, I planted basil all over the place. I bought a package of seeds that's a trio of basil and hope they do great. Man, next year I should only plant half the seeds. These are Super Sweet 100 or Sun Gold. Butterlake Farms, May 2nd. I have so many tomatoes that I have to give some away. Butterlake Tomato Transplant. So, tomato, 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 kale, 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 kale in the middle, and some basil that is really not tasty, so I've been pulling it out. I really have trouble giving up on a plant. So, but the kale, I've harvested several times and I've eaten it, which is the hope for all the vegetables in my garden, that I'll eat them. And look at this. Thank you, Ian, for giving me this prodigious tomato plant. Butterlake Farms. I have this structure, and on top of it I'm laying these wooden things that I bought last year, and I'm going to tie the plants from the top down. See how this is on a stick, but the stick is kind of loose. I'm going to attach somehow the tomato vining plant to the upper trellis, create a trellis system where a string hangs down, and that's what the tomato plant can use to grow itself. I just broadcast a whole bunch of different seeds into this bed, and look, there's a couple there's a couple of beans that are climbing up the pole. They're pole beans, and they're using a pole. You gotta love it. They're fulfilling their dharma. I took the insect netting off of this bed, and the eggplants, while the leaves are getting chowed down on, the purpleness of them is sure beautiful. I love it. I planted a tomato plant here and a tomato plant there, even though this isn't the bed that I anticipated using for tomatoes because there's no shade. I put a couple in because I have so many extras. Vacation time is coming, but there's no vacation for plants. Well, I guess there is in the seasons that they don't grow. Oh well, you know what? I am not a professional documentarian, but I do enjoy gardening, and Butterlake Farms is a place that I find my bliss and some dirt.